Welcome, everyone. Today, we have a very stacked panel. We have representatives from a Layer 1 decentralized network. We have a representative from a GPU compute network, a DeFi newsletter and fund, and last but not least, a leading global professional node operator. So the topic for today is going to be about DeFi, but not in the traditional sense, but rather the intersection between DeFi and AI. So I'll call it Decentralized AI Finance to avoid confusing everyone. All right, so before we begin, let us start off with a round of introductions. Guys, tell us who you are and what are you working on. Maybe I can go first. My name is Sam, also known as Stakesaurus. And what I do is I build and run Ethereum node operator communities across Asia, helping them throughout their journeys to become Ethereum home stakers and solo stakers. As you can imagine, I don't really use DeFAI throughout my process. That's why I am the moderator here. So I'll be representing you guys to grill them, ask them some spicy questions, and squeeze out some insights and alpha today for you guys. All right, guys, take it away. Who wants to start off with the introductions?
Yeah, I can go first. My name is Yanshan. I'm the head of APAC at Figment. So at Figment, what we do is staking infrastructure. We are the world's largest institutional staking provider, with more than $17 billion worth of assets under stake. What we do is that we help institutions generate safe, compliant, reliable staking rewards and ensure that they are able to comply with some of the leading standards around all the jurisdictions in APAC and also around the world. That's what we do. I'll pass on to.
Hey guys, my name is Danger. I'm with Today in DeFi. We are a media, and also we have our own prop fund, TID Capital. We're farming and trading on chain, and we're starting to curate some vaults. We're starting to use AI more in both the media side and also the fund side. So yeah, excited to talk about that today.
My name is Jin. I'm the co-founder and CTO of GAIB AI. So we are financializing AI cloud companies and turning into a yield-bearing asset that you can hold it. You can treat it as the REITs in the AI cloud company. Yep. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kowei. I work for Iota Foundation as the lead of HR and BD. So Iota, we are a 10-year-old Layer 1. Now we are a Move VM, and now we have quite a lot of government collaboration in EU, in East Africa, in UAE. And for the AI, we work with like verified credential, digital product passport tracking, and definitely also DeFi. Yeah.
Awesome. So DeFi, DeFAI, is a relatively new space. And just to make sure everyone is on the same page for our upcoming discussion, let us first define what is DeFi, DeFAI. So, feel free to comment in your own words, yeah?
Well, traditionally speaking, what we do in protocol staking is not exactly DeFi, But we do tap in the realms of DeFi a little bit. So I'll do my best, Maybe the other panelists would have a better definition than me, So how I see DeFAI, That's how you pronounce it, I guess.
Oh, right.
DeFAI, okay. Is that DeFi is kind of like the bloodstream, That drives financial resources, activity, in the blockchain world, And AI comes in as the heart, the pump, To make it faster, to make it more efficient, to make things run smoother, to process intended actions of human, of manual work at a much faster speed, That's how I look at DeFAI, Innovation, but also control within the realms of what we are intending for it to do, So that's my definition. I'll hand it over.
DeFi or DeFAI is kind of a
Def
nascent field.
DeFAI now. Let's call it DeFAI.
DeFAI,
Yeah.
that's better. Yeah, DeFi. DeFi is like a very, very nascent field. I think it's like a little bit more of a dream right now than reality because last year we had these like meme tokens around like Terminal of Truth. I don't know if you guys heard of that. And then there's also like this fart coin, which is like supposedly invented by AI. And you could go on their Twitter and it was like spouting all this like on-chain alpha and stuff, but if you actually looked at it, it was kind of still a little bit BSy. So I think it's still a little bit early for a real AI-driven like DeFi or like alpha to exist because it's just hard to like AIs right now are mostly LLMs. They're really good for giving you language-based advice and coding tips, but they're not really that good with interacting on-chain to look up data or actually do real farming for you yet. So I think we're still very early in the DeFi or DeFi hype wave, but I think there is some promise there, and it's already happening in some ways, but maybe not. We're not quite fully there yet.
Yeah. So in my honest opinion, that's the DeFi. It's quite broad, but let me break it down into a coordinate so we can like see what it means and understand it clearer. So DeFi is actually a combination of DeFi and AI, and they want to combine it. But DeFi actually it has two parts, right? The D part and the Fi part. And for AI, there's also two parts. The AI application layer, like the application that we use every day, and the AI infra. For example, like the servers, the backend services, like for institutions, basically. So there will be four combinations, like the D, AI application part, D, AI infra part, Fi application part, and Fi infra part. So for most of the people that they, for example, like a agent AI or everything that we are trying and then using right now, so are more like agent part. It's focusing on the D and the AI applications because they are applications and they are like running on decentralized network. So that's the D AI application. And the AI infrastructures are those like compute networks, like decentralized compute networks, like Aether or any other server-related things. You want to run compute, but not from AWS and GCP. They're like a very centralized company that just provide from one source. They coordinate the decentralized network by algorithms and contribute the compute for all AI companies they want to use. So that's the D and AI infra. The third coordinate is the Fi and the AI applications. There are some projects, I'm not sure if you're focusing on, but like there are several projects in US, they are trying to monetize the applications. So that's the Fi part, right? Like for example, if you actually own, like virtuals, right? Like if you own an AI, like own an agent, not own an AI, own an AI agents, and you can actually share the revenue generated by the AI, right? And you can basically fractionalize the ownership of the agents, right? So you own part of it. So that's the Fi application combination. The last part is what we're doing. We are falling into that category is the Fi AI infra. So for the AI infra, basically what we're talking about is the AI data centers. And we all see that there are like Stargate programs from US and then in UAE as well. They are trying to build more data center to satisfy the demand of compute usage. And for the infra, usually people couldn't touch that because that needs a lot of money and it needs government support and it takes longer time to build all of the things. So what we're doing is like combining the Fi part and the infra. So you can own part of the AI infra, so you can also get the revenue generated in this industry. So not only just like AI cloud, but also like robotics and also energy. That's what we are going to expand. So in the future, you can think of us like you can just as a financial asset. If you are interested in new AI, not just the application part, you want to own the source, the infra. You can easily get into it, and very smoothly. Yeah, and there's no such a financial asset in traditional market before. So that's my definition of DeFi, because like four combinations, and some people will probably misuse it, and in my honest opinion, DeFi is like a little bit abused. So I want to clear it out, and I hope this would give people like yeah, like a better definition to understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, this is an amazing framework. Even I was like captivated. I was like taking down notes mentally. So if anyone is sitting in the audience, better take out your notebooks and start drawing this 2x2 matrix. So Kowei, all the best to you going after this. Try to top this.
So maybe I will not go through the definition round. I just go through like what's the problem solved by DeFi, because sometimes definition is hard to draw the line, but what's the problem to solve? So the reason why to combine DeFi and AI is because DeFi is so hard to use. Once you try to go across different chain, different like token standards. So for example, if I use Lido, there's the wrap version and there's the rebase version. So how does things move forward? And so many different validators to choose which one I should choose to stake my token. DeFi is very, very complex, and we cannot just tell people, just say, okay, now you see your C phrase, and now you can get your money play around. He or she will get wrecked. So the problem is about to simplify the user experience and to make sure people can get a reward based on their risk appetite. So there's something maybe similar to like intent or something similar to user experience improvement. But another thing DeFi do is more than just on-chain part. In some sense, it can help us to do the off-chain part. So for example, if you try to do a lot of the RWA things involve off-chain stuff. So for example, if you want to do trade finance or do trade logistics, it involves like if the cargo really, like for example, from Kenya to Singapore, once it hit the Singapore, now we can say, okay, now your under collateral loan is being paid. This thing need to go from off-chain thing to on-chain thing. So this thing need DeFi involved. And so DeFi is more than just the pure on-chain optimization. It also can help people to solve the off-chain issue when it comes to RWA. So I just say the first thing DeFi will do is more like yield aggregator, it's more like optimization of the yield. But in the more broader definition or a more broader use case, it can also help us to deal with, like, for example, who is the address can get a verified credential, can get a DID. And once the RWA finish something in the real world, after AI analytics, it can trigger on-chain event, and then it help to really get the DeFi work on-chain. So that's my take for how the problem can solve. It can solve the core thing of our current complex DeFi ecosystem is hard to use, and it can also help to connect the RWA and the financing from off-chain to on-chain part. Yeah.
That's an interesting thought, because what you just described, right, is that the full benefits of AI-driven automation can only be realized if the transaction part, the last mile of it, right, is also automated or decentralized, or automated in a decentralized way. Otherwise, it will always get stuck at some payment step, and then someone manually has to process the payment before the next set of automation can resume. Yeah. So super interesting. So there's this 2x2 matrix, and then Yanshan mentioned that it's something that can be used to drive even more efficiency in the DeFi space, decentralized finance space. Probably a bit too early, yeah. But there are some interesting use cases already that people are working on. So definitely a space that we should be keeping our eyes on. So next, I'd like to understand a little bit deeper. Jun, maybe you can start off, right? Building off of this 2x2 matrix, what does the whole value chain looks like? Maybe we start from like the infra providers, and then in a linear fashion, from infra to applications, who are the service providers in between, or who are the players in between, and where do you guys fit? Where do each of you guys fit? Yeah.
Yes. So it's a factoring, and then right now we're just at the beginning. So, for example, like validators, they are running servers, so they could be part of the AI infra. So it's not like a dichotomy, like, okay, you are just infra or something, because if you have an infra, you can also develop your application. And for some application, if you want a better service, you usually need to run your own things for customization, for your own infra for customization. So I think that is quite mature, even in Web 2, right? There are servers, there are distributed servers, not decentralized, they're just distributed. But decentralized, if you democratize the ownership, then you can make distributed servers into decentralized network. So it's basically the same spectrum, but like combining the DeFi part, you have to have two parts, like monetization and financialization. And by financialization, I mean it's similar to tokenization, right? You can tokenize into some digital format, and it's transferable. So for these service provider, I would say some of the mining companies like Alpha, they are also tapping into AI infra by providing the compute for AI cloud companies. And from some of the application projects like virtual, but they haven't expanded to infra yet, but I talked to some application projects, they want to expand to the infra and provide the value in this industry and try to create a hybrid model that could, that could be more specific and not just use the DeFAI. And then they are creating a new like narrative. For example, like us, we call us like RWAI5 because the actual validators are RWA and it's AI. And we're financializing it. And some people are called like infra-fi, and some people like call it just AI-fi. So there are many ways to call it, but it's a spectrum and actually just bring the monetization and the tokenization part.
Right.
Cool.
Ginger?
Yeah, for AI and DeFi these days, although I think like the full end-to-end like AI-driven DeFi like project is not quite there yet, but it is being used a lot. So for the front end, there's a project based out of Taiwan called Monarch Lend, which is based on Morpho. It's like a lending market, and they have this AI-driven farm where you just put your money in, and then it'll find like the highest yield on Morpho, and it'll just constantly change it without you having to worry about it. So that's kind of cool. And then I think a lot of projects, even if they're not directly AI, they're using AI to help their coding, their design. Like we're a media and we're also a fund, so we're using AI to help us find the best news, the most tradable news. We're using AI to do research. We're also using AI to help develop code to create data dashboards, to automate our farming and farm tracking and stuff like that. So I think there is a lot of room for AI throughout the stack, and we're not quite there at like fully AI-driven DeFi projects, but I think it's still being used a lot.
Yanshan, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think in the context of a staking infrastructure provider, right, we interface with AI in two ways, right? One is how we use AI, and the other is how we enable AI, right? So when you run staking infrastructure, what you're exposed to is a whole series of risk factors, such as what are the slashing risks, what are some of in certain protocols, what are some of the liquidation thresholds, what are the collateral ratios, how do you manage the stake allocations for some protocols to maximize the yield, or we call it rewards. Right, so there are many factors out there, some related to your returns, some related to whether your capital gets diminished, right? All of these right now in the staking world, right, is being done either manually or with a certain level of automation, but not so much in the AI sense yet. So this is where I see AI can really enable staking infrastructure, providing all our DevOps team with a much faster, more efficient way of compiling all these numerous sets of data and to be able to make decisions faster, right? And at a more timely manner to prevent incidents or mistakes from happening. That's how I see AI can enable staking infrastructure, right? And how we use staking infrastructure. Now, how we enable AI is in terms of the protocols that we support. The POS protocols that are out there that are being run, to support AI, and to decentralize compute, decentralize modeling, right? Ensure like what was mentioned just now, you are able to decentralize the servers and not having everything being in one single location, which is prone to security attack as well. So this is how we see that we can enable AI, right? If you look at protocols like BitTensor, Ocean Protocol, SingularityNet, some of these, show that, it's possible to really decentralize these aspects of AI and fitting it into the entire dev AI bucket. Yeah. So yeah, this is how we interface with AI, and right now it's still not very prevalent in the institutional staking space. A lot of them still want that control, that ability to serve institutions on a bespoke level, but I see it coming, right? Our tech team, our DevOps teams are actively working to implement AI into all parts of our infrastructure right now. Yeah.
But is it already being used in production today, or there's still some ways to go?
So this is exactly what I asked my CTO yesterday, but he told me to keep it P&C because trade secret.
Interesting. So I guess in the 2x2 matrix, once again, under AI, infra AI application, now AI application has two other branches from what I can understand so far. One of the application is user-facing, so consumer-facing. The other fork of the application can be used internally, can be closed source, can be used, let's call it B2B. Kowei, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so for us, so people might still remember Iota's IoT chain, and now we focus on trade logistics. We still have the IoT component, so if we want to make sure our tokenization of RWA like coffee bean or like critical mineral go from East Africa to all different countries, we need to make sure it's not the cargo or the shipment is not really confiscated or something go wrong. We will put the sensor there, and once we have a sensor with so many data to really analyze, then listening to involve AI. So for example, if you see someone try to steal a coffee bean there, and you get trigger or something, or if this thing goes in well, it could really enter, for example, Amsterdam, or it really enter the port in Singapore, then it triggers thing and it can notify, it can even trigger on-chain action such that now this trade finance is done, so this RWA5, or in some sense, RWA plus default, now the payment can be done. So another thing we can do is all about a verified credential. So once you try to involve the on-chain, off-chain, you're always afraid of the syllabus attack. So we want to know who are like the users. Then you need to involve like some of us KYC. And for Iota, we work with our European Union for the DID sandbox. For now, it definitely still proof of concept in the sandbox, but how we can use AI to really help us to streamline the process, just like we try to make sure we don't violate anything like GDPR or something, but we try to know who are, for example, the seller of the coffee bean, or how can we detect anonymously of the invoice finance, maybe the invoice or default, so we don't do the payment or something. Just like AI is a tool for us to really build a trade logistic trade finance RWA. We will not say ourselves as a AI layer one. For sure, we are not the case. But we definitely know it's a powerful tool to help us to solve all the problem we see in our ecosystem and our project. Yeah.
Thank you. Now that I think about it, even within my community, we use AI a lot, not directly, but in the middle layer. So if you guys don't already know, Ethereum validators can be run by anyone. But one of the major hurdles is the acquisition of the skill set. Previously, you needed like 2 months to get up to speed. But because the whole knowledge base of Linux system administration or node operations is very well documented, you can cut that time down by to just like 2 weeks. And then when you do more work running infrastructure, you get more rewards. So it's not just like financialization of AI agents that you see on crypto Twitter that makes up all of DeFi. So there are a lot of opportunities around this space, but there are also a lot of risks, all new risks that have emerged. And I'd like to get each of your thoughts around this. So maybe for the professional validator, maybe you'd like to start.
Yeah, that's right. So I completely agree with what you said, right? Essentially, what we see AI as is not the final decision maker, not the one that pushes the button to make the call, right? When you look at the kind of clients that we serve, the partners that we work with, they are the top institutions around the world, right? Look at BlackRock, 21 Shares, Fidelity. We work with regulators as well. Recently, the SEC declared staking as not a security in the US because we spoke to them for 2.5 years, right? all these things, we believe that, perhaps AI can compile the evidence that's required to make the decision, but they can't be the one interfacing directly with, humans and decision makers, right, to make that call, right? They're enablers, they're assistants, they're advisors, they're recommenders. But for now, we still believe that decision has to be made by a human, right? That's my take, but others can.
In terms of risks around DeFi, I think actually for regular DeFi, one of the main risks is that DeFi is centralizing because finance in general is centralizing. If you have more money, you have more power in the markets. But I think AI can actually flip that around and actually help decentralize the markets a bit because one of the main barriers in DeFi that is centralizing is knowledge. If the market makers are more sophisticated, they know more, they have better algorithms and strategies. But AI can flip that around because AI, basically makes everyone smarter. You can quickly look up, market making strategies. There can be projects which help users do basis trading strategies. So there's already projects which are, making sophisticated strategies available to regular people. And I think AI will accelerate that, and it'll make it easier for people to stay up to date with their news. So basically, regular people can become better traders. It could even be market making becomes an individual thing instead of an institutional thing. So I think, in terms of DeFi risks, that's one thing where I think AI can actually improve the situation.
And Jun, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, 30 minutes, 30 seconds. So
30 seconds.
yeah, I think the biggest risk is overtrust. So from a technical perspective, everyone's using it records. But sometimes you just directly use it, right? And you just run it on application-wise and then also infra-wise. And sometimes it will break new things. So I think that's the biggest risk right now.
Right. And also something about model centralization. Do you think that will be a concern?
For now, I don't think that will be an issue because it still needs some management. But in the future, I think we will face new challenges and then we'll definitely have different solutions on that.
Right. So from what I can tell, I think there's this verification cost factor that is still lingering in the air. So I guess if the verification cost does not exceed the amount of value you get from automating some parts, right? It makes sense to use it. Otherwise, maybe hold the horses back a little. Kowei, any last words you want to share with everyone?
Just say try it, but don't get all in. Just for example, you want to use DeFi for your portfolio management, you can maybe use 1%, or you can use the account management control, use the smart wallet, so maybe you can only touch 1% of your portfolio. Try it, but don't go all in because the thing can go wrong in the early stage.
Interesting. All right, I think we are right out of time. Do we? All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.